Hi, it's Nick from Nick's Nutrition, and in this video I'm going to be talking all about IBS and my top tips on how to improve your symptoms. So IBS stands for Irritable Bowel Syndrome, and it's a diagnosis given by your doctor if you've been suffering from disturbed bowel habits, things like cramps, and you don't have any other condition that was detected by a blood test or any other investigations. We're not really too sure why IBS occurs, but it might be linked to stress or lifestyle, and definitely what you eat can make the symptoms better or worse. If you've been diagnosed with IBS, then you may want to see a registered dietitian, and you can ask your GP for a free referral. You may also want to do a food and symptom diary, so write down everything that you eat and then every time you get a symptom to do with your bowels, and you might be able to pick out links or triggers. Triggers also may be linked to things that are going around you, so during times of stress things might be getting worse. I'm about to talk through though my top tips on how to improve your IBS symptoms, and if you've got any other tips I would love to hear them, so please leave them in the comments down below. Oh, and before I start, I want to say if you do suffer from IBS, then you're not alone. About 1 in 5 people, so 20% of the population, also suffer. So tip number 1 is to have regular meals and to chew your food really well. The body doesn't like to go for long periods without eating, so if you keep to regular meals, 3 meals, 2 snacks a day, and make sure that every time you eat, you chew the food really well. My second tip is to make sure that you're drinking enough water. A really easy way to tell if you're hydrated enough is to just look at the colour of your wee. If it's a pale straw colour, then great, thumbs up, and if it's any darker, then you want to be drinking more. Drinking just helps your digestive system to keep moving. So my third tip is to look at trigger fluids, so things like caffeine, fizzy drinks and alcohol. These 3 can all trigger symptoms in people, so if you are sensitive to caffeine, fizzy drinks or alcohol, just cut them down or cut them out of your diet. Now, IBS symptoms can range between people, but if say you're suffering with a lot of bloating, then you may want to cut down on something called resistant starches. Resistant starches are created when carbohydrates such as potatoes or pasta are cooked and then cooled. So for example, things like crisps, things like cool pasta or cool potatoes in a salad, they all contain resistant starches, which means that they are resistant to digestion. So they reach your bowel and they ferment and they can produce a lot of gases, hang around. So if you always make sure that your potatoes and pasta are freshly cooked, then this may improve symptoms. Some people also find that fresh pasta is much better tolerated than dry pasta. Also along the line of resistant starches is things like pizza and garlic bread, where you reheat it at home, because all of these breads have been cooked once, then cooled, possibly frozen, then you're reheating it again. So sometimes people can suffer from diarrhea, and this can be triggered by a few things. One of them might be too much fresh fruit juice, so always stick to 1 small glass a day, around 150 ml. And maybe go for more vegetables rather than more fruit throughout the day, especially if you're sensitive. Another trigger might be sugar-free sweets, so they contain something called sorbitol, things like chewing gum, sugar-free mints. So just make sure that you check the packet, and if it says excessive consumption may cause laxative effects, then just go easy on the pack when you buy it. Fatty foods and fried foods can also lead to diarrhea, so maybe grill or oven cooked foods as opposed to adding lots of oil. Going the other way, some people can suffer from constipation, so if that's you, then make sure that you're drinking enough fluid, as I've said before. Make sure that you're moving around to get your digestive system going, and also include fibre in your diet, so things like oats and golden linseeds, which you can find down the baking aisle, have been shown to help reduce symptoms of constipation without causing any further bloating. If your diet is pretty good and you think that you're doing everything that I've just spoken through, then you may want to try some probiotics. So one brand that I've used is called Optivac, and they basically produce different probiotics based on these symptoms that you're experiencing. Probiotics live in our gut and basically help with digestion. So the recommendation is to try a probiotic strain for at least 4 weeks, and if your symptoms improve, great, continue with it, and if they don't, maybe try a different strain of bacteria. Other factors to consider is make sure that your stress levels are under control. So things like exercise is great for stress, and if you are still needing help, then don't be afraid to speak to your doctor, who can prescribe medications and also offer further advice. I really hope that you found these tips useful. I'll put more information in the down bar below, but please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next time.